Killa Cooking. Haywire knocks the secret knock and Killa opens the door eagerly. He walks in with 2 bags filled with groceries. I hope you got everything on the list. Killa immediately starts taking the food out the bags. I hope your boy wasn't using the phone, Haywire says. Killa stops what he's doing and looks Johnny straight in the face. Did you make a telephone call? Johnny could feel the sweat trickling down and the tension of the moment. Nah, son, I wouldn't go out like that. Besides, who the fuck am I gonna call anyway? Killa stares at him for a few seconds, as if he's trying to detect the truth. He really doesn't even want to deal with this shit. He wants to get on with one of the few pleasures he gets out of life. Good enough for me. I'm ready to cook. The young thug is in a joyful mood because he's about to do something he likes to do and is quite good at. Besides robbing ladies at the ATM, it's his favorite thing to do. Haywire isn't so convinced. He's sure he heard someone talking on the phone while he was outside the door. He stays quiet, but his abrupt exit speaks volumes. After taking everything out the grocery bags, Killa becomes upset. With a knife in his hand, he storms out of the kitchen to confront Haywire. What happened to my fresh garlic? You know I need to have fresh garlic steamed with my broccoli. Snoop feels the excitement and starts running around in circles. Haywire is still ticked off about the phone incident, so he does not appreciate the way Killa is stepping to him. I told you before, there's garlic in the bottom of the refrigerator. Johnny is bewildered at the confrontation in front of him. Are 2 gangsters going to kill each other over garlic, he thinks to himself. At school, he is the bully, the one to be feared. In this place, he is the lowest man on the totem pole. These cats make him nervous. Killa steps back, acknowledging he is in the wrong. My bad. I hope you're hungry. Killa goes back into the kitchen as if nothing happened. By the way, thanks for not forgetting the adobo, he yells backwards. Johnny hangs out with Killa as he puts salmon, lamb, and pork chops into pots of cold water and vinegar. What's up with that, he inquires. I always soak my meats in vinegar and water to kill off bacteria before I start cooking. Isn't the food going to taste funny? No, I use very little vinegar and a lot of water. You'll never be able to tell. Man, I can't boil a motherfucking egg. Well, I can. Cooking is my first love, my passion. You kind of remind me of Steven Seagal when he was in this movie where he was a cook and he was still cracking heads. Yeah, I remember that movie. He was a chef on some boat. That nigga still couldn't fuck with me in the kitchen. That's what's up. What are you cooking anyway? I'm hooking up some stuffed lamb, salmon and lemon garlic sauce, and fried pork chops. Baked potatoes with butter and sour cream and broccoli. Broccoli with steamed fresh garlic? Johnny sucks up to Killa. You're damn skippy. Killa rinses off 3 large red potatoes and wraps them in aluminum foil. I put these in the oven first because they will take the longest to cook. He rinses off the boneless breast of lamb and expertly carves a hole through the center. He seasons the lamb and stuffs it with chopped asparagus and crab meat. I love culinary arts, he declares as he slices off pieces of the lamb to cork the holes. What the hell is that? It's the art of cooking, using food as a form of self-expression, but basically it's a fancy name for a chef. Killa throws Snoop a few slices of raw meat. Damn, nigga, I never knew you were down with the food game like that. It's nothing I could really go bragging about. Niggas would definitely try to clown a brother. Until they taste my cooking, then they couldn't say shit. He sets the lamb aside. You know, food can be used as a deadly tool. Many people have died from eating the wrong foods. Johnny does not like him talk about deadly foods while cooking a meal. So what is your favorite thing to cook? Before Killa can respond, they are interrupted by Haywire, who is still upset and famished. He walks in past Killa and Johnny, straight to the telephone. He presses the redial button, hoping to catch Johnny in a lie. The redial comes up empty. Haywire knows it has been erased. He looks at his so-called comrades and decides against saying anything yet. He believes Johnny is guilty and the cops will probably beat down their door any minute now. He gives them both the evil eye as he leaves the kitchen. Killa goes on with the conversation as if Haywire never walked in and walked out. My favorite foods to cook are Chinese and Spanish foods. You burn those too? Johnny is antsy because he knows Haywire is still out to get him. Still, he is slightly comforted to believe Killa is on his side. Hell yeah, I could put all these so-called Chinese food stores out of business. Besides, we don't get real Chinese food in the hood. What? They don't cook fried chicken, cheeseburgers, and spare ribs in authentic Chinese restaurants. You can't get that shit in Chinatown. What we get in the hood is the Chinese versions of soul food. How about Spanish food? Is that the real thing? Yes, it is. Spanish people know what they want. They don't go to a Spanish restaurant looking for American food. They go to eat traditional Spanish grub. While Killa is talking, he's preparing his lemon garlic sauce and seasoning the pork. Enjoying the spotlight, Killa goes on to say, the difference is the demand. How many times have you seen other Asian people go into a Chinese joint in the hood and order some food? Johnny shrugs his shoulders. He has never seen it happen. Even the people who work at these rinky-dink restaurants don't eat the food on their own menus. That's the main difference right there. Killa heats up the olive oil to fry his marinating pork chops. Spanish people patronize their own establishments. They go to their own restaurants and demand the real thing. You sure know a lot about cooking. The culinary arts is something I really like to do. I'm fanatical about it. I even know how to cook foods called aphrodisiacs. I think I heard of that. Those are foods that make you horny. Cook the right meal for a shorty and you are guaranteed some good pussy. Say word. I'm serious. But my favorites are the psychedelic foods and foods that kill. I can have a nigga literally eat himself to death. Damn, that's cold. I could grind up some glass real good. If you do it right, you can have someone eat a bowl of soup with the glass in it. They won't even know it's there until they start shitting out their insides. That's awful. I'm into stuff like that. There's this woman named Dorothea Puente. She was an old woman who murdered people. Everyone said she was such an excellent cook. She never killed anyone with her food, but she's remembered most for her cooking. I know you heard of Jeffrey Dahmer. He was a cannibal. He cooked motherfuckers and ate them. I know I could cook up a nigga real good. I could make nigga stew or a fucking Puerto Rican pate. I could probably feed you some dead bitch and you would say that it's some good chicken. Shit, you never know what the fuck you eating anyway, especially when you eat hot dogs and cheeseburgers. You trying to make me lose my appetite? No, just making conversation. I could tell you about Albert Frentres. He shot somebody, cut him up, and ate him. The cat he feasted on was about your size. They stare at each other with Killa holding a big kitchen knife in his hand. Yo, dog, you making me nervous, Johnny says. Killa ignores his comment and goes on talking. You ever heard of the date rape drug GHB, gamma hydroxybutyrate, or ketamine? Those are tasteless, colorless drugs you can put in the food that could paralyze a person easily. You are fanatic about food? Yeah, I wish I could have gone to school for it. You? School? What the fuck? You think a nigga stupid or something? Killa points a big turn fork at Johnny. Nah, never that. You fucked up. You should not be here. You got talent and you had a chance. Johnny has an idea, but he's not exactly sure what Killa's talking about. He plays dumb. Huh? You my cousin, right? You think I don't know about your basketball skills? You supposed to go to college, maybe pro. All jokes aside, why you want to be a thug? This is the last kind of question Johnny expects to hear coming from Killa, the ultimate thug. I couldn't have nobody trying to play me out. Killa puts the pork chops in hot grease. The aroma of the cooking pork chops quickly fills the air. He rinses off the salmon and prepares it for seasoning. Saison is the #1 seasoning if you're not going to do it botch. It brings the meaty flavor out of the fish. Vegetable seasoning gives it a unique, not too salty taste. Garlic powder and red pepper intensifies the explosive flavor. A pinch of black pepper adds character and lets the taste linger in your mouth. He turns his pork chops, heats up another frying pan for the salmon, and puts the oven on broil. Timing is of the essence, but heat is the most important thing when it comes to cooking. Different foods require different amounts of heat, he says as he puts the lamb in the broiler. Killa goes on about the proper way to cook and then casually switches the subject. So you're worried about a rep. That's the main difference between me and you. I hurt people for financial freedom. You hurt motherfuckers for pride, or a lack thereof. It takes Killa a little bit less than an hour to hook up the scrumptious meal. The three fellas eat like pigs, and Snoop greedily chows down on the scraps. They throw table manners and etiquette out the window. With elbows on the table, they use their fingers, burp, and fart. When it seems that Haywire will win the burping contest, the news comes on. Quickly, Killa pushes record on the VCR. Good evening, I'm the newscaster, and tonight's top story is the punk who shot officers after stabbing another kid on the east side of Manhattan has been identified as 19-year-old Johnny Stinger. Known among his peers as the imitation bad boy, here's what his classmates had to say. Johnny sees Jackie on the screen. He has a little penis and tries to compensate by hurting other people. Then he sees Ansar's. Dawn put a whipping on his ass, and that's why he stabbed him. Then he sees his mother. Please, baby, turn yourself in. Then it's back to the newscaster. The police are offering a $500 reward for any information leading to his arrest. The newsman goes on, but Johnny's anger doesn't allow him to hear another word. The story was a blatant disrespect to his character. They called me a punk, he says to no one in particular. Plus, you got your ass taxed, Haywire laughed. And you got a little dick, Killa says, as he and Haywire begin to laugh at Johnny. Johnny jumps up like he's gonna get bad. Haywire pulls out a gun and points it at him. Nigga, don't give me a reason to shoot you when it's what I really want to do anyway. Before he can respond, Killa gets some duct tapes and starts to tape Johnny's hands behind his back. What's the deal, he inquires. Just buying some time while we decide what to do. Do about what? Do about you. Killa goes into the kitchen and returns quickly. He has one hand holding his nose and the other hand holds a damp rag. Lights out. Killa places the wet washcloth over Johnny's face. Breathe, motherfucker. Even with his hands bound, Johnny puts up a good resistance. He refuses to breathe in the fumes from the liquid, which he has concluded is not water. Haywire steps up to Johnny and punches him right in the gut. With the wind blowing out of him, Johnny has to gasp for air. He gets weaker with every breath, and he goes unconscious while hearing his so-called friends laughing at him.